right, guys, here we are to talk about the movie Lost in Space.
Danger, Will Robinson.
All right, so you were very eager to watch this movie.
Well, so I was eager from like a tent-pulling perspective.
Okay, because
I
you want
was
to watch
like,
the Netflix series?
I want to watch the new Netflix series. We haven't firmly decided if we're going to and do a thing on it or whatever. But I wanted to make, like we had talked about, maybe we do want to. People say it's good though. I don't know what we should do or like whatever. But either way, whether I watch it alone or whether I watch it for these video series,
sure.
I wanted to go back and watch this movie that I remember from my adolescence. I'll say.
So you did see it before, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And what did you think about it then? What do you remember from that?
Can I give a short speech?
You go ahead.
I have a short speech prepared.
Sure, let's hear it.
So before I watched this, I said, well, let me write down what I can remember. And I wrote down resources running out. It has stars that we recognize, like actors in it or whatever.
Sure.
Time travel space evolution monster. And I remember wanting to like it, but feeling like maybe I was too old and I couldn't get into it or whatever. Because this was like, I think it's 98. I'm going to feel dumb if it's not 98.
I believe 1998.
So this is a weird time. The prequels are about to come out. Like a lot of movies that are like, and again, like it was because I think I was like 14 or 15 when this came out. And I saw it right then. And I remember like, oh, like that could have been better. And like, but that was not like a new thing. It didn't stand out as being like this epically bad thing. And I feel like that's how, like, I was shocked to find out that the rest of the world thinks it's, like, the worst movie ever. Because at the time, I was just like, you know what, maybe I've outgrown this. Maybe this is for kids now, and I'm watching, like, darker R-rated stuff, and this is not for me anymore. That was my, like impression, right?
So 1998 seemed to be, like, a time for needless reaching. And that was where it was like, well, we have these effects. We should push the boundaries and add things to movies that are completely not needed, but if done wrong, could make it totally horrible. Like, let's add a yellow monkey monster. Like, there was no reason. It added nothing to the plot whatsoever.
Literally.
I know they were like, we need a cute thing we can maybe market or sell as like a toy.
Yeah.
And as far as I remember, the toy marketing for this was shit. No one wanted these toys because it was not a hit. They thought they could have the next hit because they had something from the 60s that was fucking a monster. Yeah. And this was not that. This had all the trimmings to be something great on paper. It had a lot of ideas that were great. It had a lot of things that I'm like, oh, it's almost even a little bit ahead of its time. Like
I was going to say.
But it was implemented just really poorly. Now, you went ways that, like, all right, we're going to grab, Matt LeBlanc. He's a big star.
Friends is, like, on the air.
And I do think...
They're filming Friends.
I do think he could have been a good action star.
Yeah.
But because this went so poorly, he never got another chance.
And I don't think he's bad in this. I don't know if
he's
that's...
certainly not the worst.
If you disagree with me, attack me.
He has the coolest outfits in the whole movie.
He does.
And... like, that goes so far to being a leading man. If you look cool, that's half the fucking job.
Yeah.
And it just makes the things around him be good, and it could have been fine. But like the helmet. So when I went into this, I was like, well, what was good about this movie? I was like Matt LeBlanc's helmet. Well, what was bad? I'm like everything else. And I was like, but I haven't seen this movie probably since maybe '99. So it's been a while.
Exactly.
And you're a few
years younger than me. Yeah, so exactly.
So I was like, yeah, let me give it a shot. And watching it, I was like, okay, I can feel the pacing of it, and I know what you're going for. And they're like, all right, so we start the movie. We have some, like, epic battle in space. Yeah. But having a one-on-one essential dogfight thing, not very impressive.
Super weird,
Other movies had done it better, so you weren't one-upping anybody. You didn't really do anything that was like, oh, this. You have Morgan from Walking Dead. And I was
know!
Like, okay,
Lenny
he's cool.
James, what the hell?
And he's a dude that, like, I knew when he first appeared in Walking Dead, I had known that character, but, like, was probably in a bunch of bit roles like this that I just didn't remember.
I literally didn't. I had no idea to expect him into this.
But, like, from the jump on this scene, I'm like, okay, I know what you're going for. You don't have it.
The Cold War just got hot.
The young boy who, Will Robinson, I'm like, okay, I know what you're going for. Yeah. I don't think he's got the role, though. Like, he didn't have this.
The kid is bad.
He's bad.
The kid is bad.
I'm like, you don't really have it. and then like just all these things that seem to be really shoehorned in there, like him. I gotta save the robot's personality. We've never seen the robot's personality to begin with. Everything that in quotes was robot personality, good robot lines, robot thing. Were you remote controlling the robot? From jump, that robot did nothing but you remote control it. The things that it had a personality was it trying to kill you.
He briefly wanted to murder everyone.
Yes, and then right after that, I just bypassed it. He's like a remote control droid now. And I'm like, all right, what are you saving? And how did you just create life artificially and give this thing a heart? Because what the fuck? No, but like it's a reach. Everything about this, like you can have a couple of reaches in a movie, but so much of this was I'm like, I know what you're going for, but you're not getting it. I like the girl having a vlogging camera where I'm like, that might have been the first vlog camera ever. And I'm like,
as far as ahead of its
cool.
time. Let me find my note about this because Penny is a chipmunk vlogger.
So Penny is from Party of Five.
Lacey Chabert.
I hate her in that, and I hate her in this because her voice and how she says words sounds unnatural. She's popular. She's been in some things.
She sounds like a bad voice actress, and I was looking at her, and I was like, oh no.
No, so like I was like off the jump again. I'm like, all right, this is a miscast. I don't think this person is very good for this role.
I think that they pulled together a bunch of people who were popular from other things or whatever. Same age range at the time. I think you could have gone with, Eliza Dushku could have been taken. We keep talking about Eliza Dushku and everything.
You could have got Kirsten Dunst.
Okay.
Like these are people that were of the same age range and could have been the teenage daughter. I think she actually was too young to play the part she was playing, but I think they probably had a contract with her. Oh, we have her through Fox or whatever. We need this, whatever. And they got her.
She was a disappointment.
The dad, Mr.
William
Robinson.
Hurt.
Yeah. I was like, all right, he's like a reaching actor here. Well, I'm like, I think he's.
I thought he was okay.
No, but I think he's fine for the scientist role. But in the physical parts, he fell short for me. I thought just the writing they gave him was poor. The character was a reach. I was like, okay, he's a smart guy, whatever. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm glad we're talking. I didn't care about him at all.
I'm glad we're talking about all these actors because I want to emphasize, like.
Well, yeah, it has a lot of actors. What's the guy that played the doctor? What's his name?
Dr. Smith.
Well, yes, but
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, yeah.
That's amazing. That's an amazing pull or whatever.
He is one of like the most famous people from this, in this movie. Movie wise, he's one of the most famous of them. Yeah. And like, I'm like, all right. Okay. There you go.
So I will say, like, the writing is
he's akin to the fucking scoundrel guy from The Mummy. Like, I'm like, it's the same type of character.
Scoundrel.
That little like, oh Benny, I don't know, I speak the language of the slaves. Like I'm like, like I was like, all right, you're like a little troll character. I'm like, why do you get this brilliant actor to play a shit character?
Oh, I thought he was so like the writing is so bad, right?
That's what I mean. Is that you could have given him meat.
Yeah, the writing is so bad, so I have to factor that out when I talk about the actors, because even with the writing being as bad as it is, some of the actors are doing a lot better than others. I thought Heather Graham was appallingly bad.
She phoned in this whole movie.
Almost everything that she says or does was so bad that it made me question whether or not Heather Graham has ever been good in anything. I was like, was she only good as Roller Girl and everyone just let her coast through her entire career? Because I haven't seen her in a lot of things besides Austin Powers and like now this again. Yeah. And I'm like, oh no, maybe she's just bad.
She's okay. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff, and I've never really had horrible feelings for her. But this movie,
strikingly bad.
Just something about like her lines are all straight, like, oh, what about a wet fish or whatever the fuck she says at the end. I'm like, God damn it, that line's terrible. But even Matt LeBlanc dropped a couple of bombs in this where I'm like, dude, what the fuck was that line? You just said that like an idiot.
But
you said that like Joey, bro. You're not Joey right now. Say this like a fucking captain.
So like having him flirt with her and then having Penny having a boner for her, for like him, and then him with his boner for Judy, and Judy's the daughter of him, and now they're fighting and all that stuff. That whole thing was this whole thing. Like, why are we doing this whole thing or whatever?
I don't think that any of this wouldn't be common knowledge to him. I think he would immediately have a briefing of who was on the thing. He would just know that, like,
they just wanted that
you're
moment
name tag
of like the stupid thing.
I'm like, that's the moment that every movie would have. Ooh, like cringe.
There are multiple moments where you could hear like a record scratch noise, and he would become like Joey, and like when he's like, so Judy, and does all those things.
I think he did it for so long that it just fucking happens. Yeah.
Well, but I think that like in the script, it's kind of like, go do that now. That's like what he's supposed to do. I don't know how he could have salvaged a lot of that.
Because I like him. Yeah. And I think I would have liked this to have gone a different way because I think he could have been an interesting action star.
There are parts in this, so like it's I'm not gonna call it good acting, but there are things in this that I liked from him. I'm saying his acting.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's parts where he's doing actiony stuff, shooting the bugs, doing the stuff. He's complaining about like this much flight training, this much this, and I'm babysitting this like Family Robinson.
Yeah.
There's some things where
he had some Harrison Fordy qualities to him.
Like those. There are a lot of lines that could have been really, really bad that I thought he didn't do that bad of a job at delivering. Right? That's like
now most of the ones
that's
that
the kind
I'm
of
mad
caveats
about,
that
I'm
I
sure
have to do
are,
or whatever. Yeah.
are like just that the line was like a dog shit line is dog shit, and you can only make it sound so good.
I don't think he was perfect or even like outstanding, but like as I break down every actor, right? And I did think Gary Oldman did like a good job with whatever he was given.
I think they wrote the worst horrible character.
Yeah, but
and I don't even mean like oh that character was so evil. I mean how like
it's
for a scientist, a doctor. No, but that's the problem
weird,
is
right?
that this movie wrote a line where it's clearly a children's movie, but certain things were not kiddie. And I think the error was that they didn't pick a lane. If they would have leaned into a PG-13, this is an action movie, like a sci-fi adventure movie, you could have had a great movie. If you would have leaned into a kiddie thing and made it more family-friendly and this and that, I think you had a great movie.
Yeah.
But you rode this fence trying to get all of the fans, but instead you dropped all the balls and you lost.
Yeah, it felt like this was made not with the like. It wasn't like someone looked back on the 60s, whatever, 70s, like series, and like looked at that. They also looked at. It's like how in like the DC movies, they have to put a line in about how Aquaman doesn't talk to fish, yo. Like this movie seemed to be aware of all of the jokes about Dr. Smith and like being like a prancing around and being with the boy too much and doing this and that. So they had to make him like an undercover terrorist and all that stuff, and push it away, and murderer and war veteran and all this other weird stuff to like try to push it too far in that direction.
I just something else like I think the biggest complaint is it's a movie so long. It's so long for a movie that goes almost nowhere.
I was so shocked at how long it was.
What is it, like 2.5 hours?
So it's over 2 hours, let's put it that way. It's like 2 hours and 7 minutes, something like that. I remember, so I had to watch this late at night, and I had to do something the next day. And I remember being like, okay, we're going to watch this tonight. And when I clicked like watch, I'm like, no! Or something like that. That was my like reaction. I
knew it was a longer movie, and I remember watching it and pausing to go to the bathroom, and I came back and I'm like, I have over an hour left? Like, oh my God.
Well, that's the thing is like,
so and that end is so unsatisfying that you're like, I waited for fucking this.
No, like the ending puts it in a place where there's like, in my memory, this is a 90-minute movie that was one of a million movies that I was like, that could have been better. I guess that's for kids. I don't know. And then I kind of forgot about it for a long time. And again, like you, I like remembered, the parts that I thought were cool, and like some parts here, I was like, oh yeah, that's in this, that's cool. And there's certain things that I liked or whatever. But like again, like the fact that it's 2 hours long, the fact that there's all these scenes of like the love and talking and making out, and we go here, and we go back there, and we go back there, and we go back here, and we come back again, and all that stuff. It was very much like wow or whatever.
Yeah, it seemed foolish to me, like from the jump, where it's like, okay, at 16 hours you're going to sabotage this ship. Well, why? Like 16 hours seems like such a mistake in numbers. Like, why not wait till it's like well out of the orbit? They couldn't get anything from this ship. You're sabotaging this fucking mission. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It just seemed a little weird.
No, I
like
don't know.
That specific number. That's a script issue. Most of my issues are script problems.
It's really the script, honestly, because there's stuff that happens that I legitimately like. Parts of this, like, so it is definitely way too long, and the ending is definitely not satisfying or good. But I did find this like kind of fun. I didn't actually
was a
hate
good
this.
Idea
or whatever,
that was executed poorly.
Yeah.
I think I blame the director for a lot of this.
Yeah.
Because you're there seeing this develop. I would have immediately pulled out anything I couldn't pull off. I would have been like, all right, that effect? No, we're not doing that. Okay,
right.
No, we can do a practical. Oh, okay. Like, do we need the little thing to shimmer across their eyes before they go to sleep?
Oh my God.
Because that looks bad. Maybe we just don't do that because no one knows what cryosphere or Genix, whatever shit would look like, and it doesn't matter. So don't do that. That's going to cost us money and be bad. Okay, cool. We have Yellow Monster. Does that do anything for the plot? No. It's gone.
So we have a quick thing. The director is the same director as Predator 2 and Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Yes.
So I was like, wow, I like both of those movies. What's going on here? And I actually thought that they were like interesting movies, not just that I liked them even though they're bad or something like that. So that shocked me. If you want to talk about the effects, yeah. So the stuff in space I thought was good. And the stuff when they go through the bubble was fine. Like, there were so many effects that I thought were fine.
Yeah.
And, like, because, like, space, right? Good. Space is easy, you know? I grew up watching Star Trek and even shittier stuff. We have, like, Lex or Farscape or whatever, where they just have CG ships in space and it's fine. And there were some shots of CG ships in space that are fine here.
It was whenever you have close-up things that are just like, okay, I have to watch this for a second.
There was that moment, though, because I remember being like, oh, I thought the effects were really bad, you know, as I, like, remember, and I was shocked that anything would hold up, but that, like, they launch the spacecraft and they, like, jettison the things and it goes, like, whoosh, does this thing. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
When
I was
Jupiter
like,
2 goes up, that was cool.
I'm like, that was fine. Wow, this is fine. I thought this was going to be whatever. And then within, like a few minutes, when those, it looks like you have it in, like, another layer and you're, like, wiping across to, like, reveal the layer. It looks so bad.
No, it's bad.
I was shocked at how bad it was. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's just that. It's kind of incidental. It isn't even like a plot point. It's just like, hey, we had a dumb effect to do this and it didn't really pan out. It's not going to matter, whatever.
They're not even moving. It would have been easy to do it in stop motion and at least it would have looked like
or something, right?
Like a thing actually expanding would have been cool.
But then, like, moments later, once everything goes to heck, they do, like, a weird matrix where it stops and goes when, like, it rotates a little bit and it looks so bad. It looks so
that's an Andrew Kramer tutorial, and they just learned how to do that, so they figured I'm going to put that into a movie, and that was...
So, like, if you had just showed me that, and then shots of, like, the space, or, like, if I had never heard this movie, seen the poster, seen the trailer, and you had just shown me, like, the little alien guy that they find, one of the spiders, Spider Smith, at the end, make a long list, show me, like, 12 scenes, I would not even think that they were in the same movie, let alone made in the same decade. No. Some things are so much worse than other things that it is
out terribly.
Shocking.
They didn't get a final render on that yellow monkey or something. Like, he had no texture.
I don't know if they had texture yet.
It was terrible. And like but the biggest issue is that it served no purpose. There was no reason to make your movie look that much worse.
In a way, it's serving no purpose almost saves it, because, like, my first thought was Jar Jar Binks. And I was like, oh no, this guy's going to have something. I must have blacked this out because it's so bad because I forget all about this, right? But this, as soon as I saw him, it all came crashing back. And then I'm like, oh no, what's this going to be? And luckily it was just nothing. And eventually, eventually the movie forgets about him. So I can kind of forgive that as, like, okay, this didn't have anything to do or whatever.
He adds like 10 minutes to the movie.
Which we should just
that are
remove,
nothing. Your movie is too long to begin with. And
I know.
Your movie's too long. That looks really bad.
Yes. Should not be in the movie.
It ruins your movie. Cut it out, and you now have a shorter movie. It's easier to watch and less bullshit.
While the movie was happening, I started to mentally think, could you cut that out? You didn't need Penny's reaction in that shot. Could you cut that out? Yeah, we have someone else jumping into the chair. We don't need Penny. Could you cut that out? Yeah. And I started thinking about, could we physically cut these out and actually just save this movie?
You honestly could have cut the Penny character out.
Unfortunately / fortunately, you cut out Penny a lot by cutting out this monster.
But like if you think about the plot of the movie,
Penny does nothing,
she literally adds nothing to the movie.
It's possible she does literally nothing.
It's
Is that true?
almost true that the oldest daughter does nothing for the movie too, because the love interest is pretty much nothing but annoying. And if you cut all her scenes out, you would then cut all those scenes out. The movie would gain, I don't know, at least 10% quality in just its the speed of process. It would just seem like a more cohesive movie because they land flat. None of them are good. And so why even show them?
They are two of like the worst actresses or actors or actresses in it, right?
Yeah.
So and think about it too. If we're going to play a script doctor, cutting out Judy means that Dr. Smith is the doctor.
Yes.
Right? So then they actually do just need him, and it's this whole situation that gets set up or whatever.
Having him on the ship makes more sense anyway.
You don't have to come up with a weird excuse that he's stranded on the ship. No one sweeps the ship. You can scan for life forms. You show that
they
at the
show
end.
That.
You can scan for life forms on another ship. No one on Earth scanned for life forms just to check. Maybe a bird flew into something.
We already know that he's a double agent for another team who wants to get there first, right?
Right.
So why not make his job, I kill them and just give the ship to them if they're going to launch first? And that just makes a lot more sense.
And they like get away in space and try to go there anyway.
And that's his mission. Like,
whatever. Right,
I'm sorry, that's just a lot easier and it makes a lot more sense.
There's a lot that could have been done.
I liked the world. It had a cool look to it. It had a
Yeah.
Fifth Element look to it, and a lot of scenes that I thought I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And if honestly, if they would have got Rob Schrab to do some of the digital effects and Robot Bastard this bitch up, I think it could have been more interesting, like visually interesting. Because if you're gonna look bad, might as well look bad in a way that I'm like, well, that's cool. What is that? Yeah,
sure.
And I know it's cheaper because dude does it for free with like garbage bags and broken toys. So come on, man.
Well, and I can forgive CG that's just bad CG or something like that. And like effects don't hold up in old movies, that's fine. But like there's a difference between like we didn't have the technology to render this properly, and then it's like, why would you do this? What's happening? Right?
It's compared to other effects, and some of the effects just like, well, they shouldn't be in the movie. Period.
Well, you didn't have to have the whole scene that you had the effect in the first place in a lot of these cases, right?
Yes.
I think it comes down to...
The spiders looked fine.
Okay, good. I was going to say, like, you probably hate the spiders, but...
They're simpler characters.
Yeah.
They remind me a lot of the bad guys from Stargate. There was, like, those replicating something or others that, like, ate fucking ships and...
Oh, we got those in that?
Yeah, I can't remember.
That's a very common thing.
So, it's very common, but they reminded me very much of those.
That's what I was vaguely defending with my, like, hey, I can understand, like an effect that doesn't hold up. Because the spiders, like, being silicon-based and being able to survive in space and jumping from one ship to the other and then, like, burrowing into it, I was like, I like this. This is okay. Or whatever.
No, because the idea is fine.
It felt like Farscape. It felt like Lex. It felt like one of those shows.
If something works and makes me, like, interested, I can surpass a horrible effect. But they had something going for them. Yellow Monkey had nothing going for him.
Yeah, Yellow Monkey should not be in the movie.
At the very least, he's a fucking alien. He could have a disease. You can't take him with you as a pet, you idiots.
Well, you see, they had to run. No, makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
I actually think the robot was cool.
Do you?
I do. So he didn't look...
Which version of the robot? The first version?
Okay, so if we like go through the timeline of the robot, right? So the robot's design, you can argue about if you prefer a robot to look like that or not. Like I like extra arms. That's like makes sense for a robot to have stuff. Tank treads, extra arms, whatever. But even putting that aside, like how he's used or something like that, I liked like one of the brightest spots in this is like the boy talking while he's remote controlling the robot and like
coming out of the speaker of the robot.
With that is the voice of the original Robbie the Robot.
Yes,
they got that guy.
I looked it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, "Mom, Dad says do this" or whatever. Like he's doing that, and it comes out with Robbie the Robot's voice, and that made me chuckle, made me happy or whatever. I like the like VR control thing or whatever. I feel like as a young
I don't know
kid,
why you wouldn't immediately jump into that. Why would you remote control ever if that was a thing?
Because it's a movie. It's at a certain point.
The controller's too slow. I gotta jump into virtual reality. And I was like, okay.
But so like that, that imagery of like doing that, having the robot die and him kind of step out of it and all that stuff. I liked that, and the robot's physically there, right? It's not like a CG robot, so the robot doesn't actually just look like crap. The robot's happening or whatever. So I like that. Like a suitable update, like how they kind of then twisted into looking more like the original robot. I have no nostalgia for the old series.
No, yeah,
so it doesn't do anything
for me to really be a
and you're absolutely right. It's like a huge hole to have it not be to like add in all the extra stuff to pad the runtime for no reason. Of him trying to get the personality of the thing, like
no, that's all padded. It's not needed. It's just fan service to try to get a thing that looks like it at the end and get more talking from the original robot. But you could crop all that out.
And you could just say, I'm loading the personality, and literally just have that one line in there, and then have it be. He says at one point, like, part of the thing was corrupted, so I filled in the rest of the personality with my own. Just have that one line, and just leave it there, and never mention anything else ever, right? Just have a dumb thing, because the robot, right? Whatever.
I would cut all that out. I would cut the robot out of the final scene. I would rewrite the whole ending.
Sure, the robot doesn't do much in the end.
No, but just the whole like power of love Disney ending, like I don't like that.
No. So the ending is like completely unforgivable, and that's what I mean. Like, so like okay, the elephant in the room for me. I like the time travel thing. I like that concept.
So
I like the idea of like grown up whoever, and like you're out of the whole like sending things back, and the like you have the other half of the engine basically.
The
like
concept
that's dope as
is
fuck.
Good.
Yeah.
Every way they implemented it is bad, though. Because let's just think about what he did here. So the boy worked his whole life or whatever to this point where he had this time machine set up, and the portal is set to take them back. But where is it taking them back? To 30 seconds in the past before the ship exploded in the air? Is that not dumb?
Oh, well, that's what they like switch it into at like the last minute.
Why would you ever switch it to that? Why not ever switch it to the back before all the bad thing happens, before the boy ever gets imprisoned on this island, before anything bad happens?
No.
And he didn't go in with like a solution. He thought of that on the fucking spur of his. He could have easily teleported. Wakey's sitting there, one chance, dying right there. And his thing. Let's just go into this warp drive, hyperdrive thing where he tunnels forward. They used it once earlier.
Yeah.
And so we're too close to the sun. We're dying. Fucking fire as fast as you can into the sun and teleport through it or whatever.
Hyperdrive out of it.
Hyperdrive through it. So there's a point where you're driving really fast. Like let's say this is the DeLorean, right? Where you have to get to 88 miles an hour to hit the hyper.
I don't know if you have to be going fast. Is that a part of it?
It seemed like he's plowing, and then woof, and going.
Yeah.
And whether that's just the few seconds it takes to cook it up
like
or whatever.
The whatever, yeah.
He's originally thrusting away, and they don't have enough thrust to get away. Why not use the hyperdrive then and aim away? When you power through the sun, is there not a possibility you're just going to get too close? It's now too hot, the hyperdrive doesn't work, and you just die in the sun?
Yeah, I thought they were like... I don't remember. I don't know.
They aimed right at the sun using the gravity to pull them and power up their fucking hyper shot.
They do that with the planet at the end.
They did it. They did it. It was a
They used the gravity slingshot of the planet at the end.
Yeah.
So like he says, I thought that they were careening towards the sun and like certainly going to die, and then he says, "Go through, so to speak, by hyperdriving out of this place."
Well, yes, that is ultimately what they do.
I don't think that they turned around to get back into the sun and they were going away from it.
No.
I'd have to like rewatch it to.
They were trying to go away. They didn't have enough power, and they got pulled into the sun. And then their plan was to hyperdrive into the sun.
Well, they're hyperdriving out of the situation. I don't think that they're plowing into the sun on purpose.
How I took it,
into the sun.
Especially when they say we have 30 seconds before we die, and then when you look at the clock timer, it's been another minute and a half before they hyperdrive.
That's a movie.
I hate that
shit. We can't go too deep.
I hate it so much.
Some of this stuff.
I hate all that. I think it's retarded. Hyperdrive. And then the second time where I'm like, all right, so your plan is to drive through this planet. For all you know, it's not even hollow all the way through. Like, they don't show him a scan. They don't show anything happen.
That makes absolutely no sense. Like you said, it's just for the callback aspect. By that point, the movie has already fallen apart, and we're already just trying to get to the end.
But you've dug such a hole.
Like
unless your plan is to dig your hole so deep you pop out the other side and you're good, which they didn't succeed with.
Well, they literally did with the planets.
No, they didn't.
No, they did. They popped out the other side.
No, it's terrible.
I mean, literally.
I mean, no. This movie's so bad. It just makes me sad because there's obviously some things that could have been good, and you have actors that could have been great, and you have a plot that I'm like, okay, you have all these fans that, like, you know, not your right demographic age for this any longer, but potentially are coming back to bring their grandkids or their kids or whatever. Oh, I want to see this thing. Oh, I love this. Oh, an update. And then they just shit in their face.
I don't think it was quite that bad.
I would,
it's like super extreme.
I thumbs down this movie.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to go ahead and like thumbs it up. I just think it's like far too much of a it shocks me that this is considered so much worse than so many other things that are so bad or whatever.
It's because of all
like
the things
ratings
that fall
are like
short
incredibly bad or whatever.
Well, no, but like which we should have pulled some ratings to say like well, what part could you disagree with here? The thing here is that there are no scenes that hold up in my head. Like there's nothing that like, so if you watch Jurassic Park, which took place 6 years before.
Oh no. We can't compare it to a good movie.
I just have to compare it to things of its time, its peers in quotes.
Yeah.
Things that like, you know, were good. Like so like say Starship Troopers came around the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while the effects are not gold in Starship Troopers, there's nothing about that I would watch now and be like, well, that doesn't hold up, or that's a horrible thing, or why would they even show that? Like The Matrix came out around the same time.
Oh, no. Like, there's definitely, like, I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying, like, it has a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I feel like that's insane.
I don't
feel
think
like
so.
In a world where, like, movies that don't even like have like this movie has scenes that go from one to the next and like things happen in it.
Certainly,
we've seen movies that are like complete messes that end up with like 40s on Rotten Tomatoes.
You got to think how a movie gets like its rating, right?
Yeah.
So it's about how many people watch it. The more people that watch a movie, the more percentage is like you have a swing of votes.
I think this became like a famously bad movie that people like jumped on the bandwagon of like super hating or something.
I disagree. I don't think this is one like Blair Witch is one of those where like people that have never seen it shit on it.
Blair Witch 1?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was like a legendary...
Universally, people shit on that movie.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. I thought it was like revered as the first one of its kind. Or
Oh no,
whatever.
and it was, but people shit on that movie that have never seen it. That's the
That's
gimmick
like
of it.
normal people. I mean,
I
like
don't think
people that rate
anybody that
stuff.
is shitting on this that hasn't seen this movie is my
No,
point.
no. I don't mean that at all. No.
So I think the problem it has is that it was seen. So you have a movie that's a high budget of a property that, intellectual property that is very popular. So you have a lot of eyes on something. So your mess ups are going to be that much more seen. When you have all these A-list stars, somebody likes all these stars, and someone's going because of these stars. They're draws. They're why you hire major stars. And when you don't have any scenes that don't feel like worse versions of scenes in another movie, that's how I give you your negative. So like I said, from the opening scene of in space with the thing, I'm like, well, that's a bad space fighter scene. Okay, and then you have bad action scenes. And then you have bad comedic scenes. Like, there's no good scenes, so what would give it over a 27?
They're not so, like... I guess I don't know. I guess we're very vehement about this whole thing.
No, but I don't think it's the worst movie ever.
That's what I mean.
But my point is that there are no scenes that I'd be like, but like that scene was good.
I don't think that any of the scenes are bad enough to be so bad that like they're worse than any other scene in any other movie that has a scene like that. No. You know what I mean?
That's not my point.
That's what I'm
saying. My point is that
yeah.
it has no scenes that are better than another. Like you wouldn't.
Yeah, but there's there's like a ton of movies have come out like over the years that have been what I would call them like disappointments or letdowns. Like I said,
sure.
Like I was too old. I was too old is like my phrasing or like whatever. Where I go like. If I were younger, I probably wouldn't care because if you go back to watch a movie, sometimes it doesn't hold up, and you're like, oh, I just those few cool parts like made me do like whatever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't have it. Like when I walk away from this, my cool part in quotes. The only you know what I think I can phrase it better is the originality factor. Is that all the scenes in this movie feel like a scene in something else?
I feel like
not better than.
I feel like if I said I thought this was a cool part, you would say no, it wasn't, and then
I'm very much open to if you could give me a scene that you thought was good, like the helmet. And while I have seen that in SG1, I liked his outfit. I thought that was cool. I walked away thinking that was good.
I actually have a note that says because they show Heather Graham's helmet. Bad. And it's so bad, but then his helmet's cool, so I wrote down...
Because he has the military helmet, and they have
all of the helmets suck, except for Matt LeBlanc.
Yes.
I called him Matt LeBlanc in all of my notes,
Of course you did, because I don't know what his name was in the movie.
His name was Colonel or something West?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, yeah.
Back to my originality point in this was every scene felt like a scene from another movie. While other movies that I might be like, well, this gets a 37, it's because it has a scene where I'm like, well, it wasn't trying to be anybody in this scene. It wasn't trying to be Indiana Jones in that scene. It wasn't trying to blah, blah. It wasn't trying to have a comedy scene that fell flat. Like, there were no real, like, yes scenes. While even your shitty movies, I might laugh at something. Like, did you laugh at any parts in this?
It wasn't really... much of a comedy?
Well, but my point is that they tried for comedic moments, and I thought they all landed flat.
Right, it's not.
And then
it's not necessarily fair because I'm not really a laugher. But I get your point.
I was going to work my way around.
Comedically,
they tried for the tension parts;
whatever,
it didn't really happen. They tried for this is scientific, and I thought they fell flat on those things.
I was shocked how much I didn't hate this movie. Basically, I was shocked at how much this movie because I'm not nostalgic for it because I didn't really like it at the time. Right, I had the whole thing where I was like, oh, I guess I'm too old to really appreciate this. I guess this is for kids. I'm just going to forget about this movie.
Yeah, well, I've kind of changed my argument where it's not that it's something so bad, it's that nothing was so good.
Sure, but that doesn't mean like movies that are like that you end up with like a middle rating or like a tepid rating where people are idiots.
No, but the middle, the tepid rating for me would be if it came at something with an original concept. This already came into it as it's a reboot, so it's already fighting its own name.
Yeah, but it's a reboot of something so old that it doesn't like click with like the audience for this in 1998 was not people who enjoyed the series in the 60s and are like it isn't like Man from U.N.C.L.E. where it's like who is this? Well, it is like Man from U.N.C.L.E. where it's
it would be
like no one from it's almost dumb to pick that because no one from the original is even going to appreciate this or whatever, right?
I don't know that nobody. Like I said, I think the grandparents taking their grandkids and this and that. I just think that everything like I was watching it just going like, all right, I see what they're going for, and I kept being disappointed with like it not being a thing. So like I just had I got no emotions from the movie where I was like, all right, anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, various points I was like, that's fine, that's fun. I was like, this is okay. I was shocked at how much, like, because, like, all the things that we talked about that, like, bother us definitely bothered me. I didn't like some of the, like the writing is horrible, the plot structure has issues or whatever, and there's problems with, like, half the cast is acting horribly and all that other stuff like that.
So just take that and then say, but this part's fine, this part's fun, is such a low score.
But that's okay. But
horrible plot flaws, bad acting.
Okay,
yeah, okay, but like, it's fun.
But like that review, word for word, I was going to cap it off with, applies to Batman vs Superman, which got like whatever, not 27.
The difference,
right, or whatever.
No, but the only thing that saves Batman versus Superman is it being Batman versus Superman. You have people that will just fanboy vote,
it's
and
a potentially mess or whatever.
Potentially that happened for this movie too, but their fanboy selection is so much smaller.
But they have like aging geriatric
just
fanboys
anybody
or whatever,
who because it's an ongoing DC versus Marvel war, and anybody that chooses DC, and it's almost like a man versus woman thing where it's like a 50-50. So you have, I think that's a fair statement.
Is there data to support that? I actually have no idea.
It's 49-51, I think, is the actual.
Is it? But if you poll people,
I think so.
Wow. Okay.
I would wager it's very close, if not, off by like 7%.
Are we counting Norbies, or is this just like diehard people?
No, you're counting man on the street who likes blah blah blah.
Exactly.
You have your average idiot who knows nothing and goes, I like Superman, and then you have like your I love Superman type of things, and I think that amount would get you a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes alone.
Okay, but
so I think you'd have to pick a different movie.
Well, but they watched the movie though, so they know that it's bad.
No, but
you know what I mean?
But it's kind of like if you're a politician, it's found out like, oh, they raped somebody, you'd be like, nah, that's not true. They wouldn't do that. There's proof. Nah, I like them. I'm voting for them anyway.
No, but
same thing with this.
No, but this would be if the politician had raped you. Like, you were there. You saw the movie.
But
that it happened to
you're not going to admit that your party fucked up.
No, but like it happened to you. It didn't. You're not like hearing about it after the fact. This is like you are a like third party.
No,
to
but
it's or whatever.
If you say a Batman movie sucks, and you are a Batman diehard, saying anything, giving up any ground is a loss.
I understand that people are in denial and like crazy or like whatever, right? And that's my go-to because that's like the most recent movie like this. I didn't go check a bunch of ratings of a bunch of other things to like do this scientifically or like whatever. But I remember that movie getting like a suspiciously not 27%.
And then there's just the people that are like, the fanboy shills that are just like, well, I like Batman. Then you have idiots that just go, I like Batman too. And like anything on screen would have gotten a score. This doesn't have that kind of fan base, so it would never get a 50-50 on a good-bad swing.
Sure.
And then on top of that, it just not being good, the 27 makes sense to me.
I didn't think it was great, but I don't think it's anywhere near like a 27.
Have you looked at what other things have gotten a 27?
Like I just said, I didn't do like a scientific thing, but I'm often looking at Rotten Tomatoes things to like go figure out things or whatever. And I haven't seen a 27 in a very long time. Like there's the odd movie that isn't even really a movie that gets like a super low score or something like that. But I rarely see anything in like the 20s.
Like I can only vote like, something for myself,
something like that,
and if I count myself as 100% of the poll, this movie would get tanked.
Yeah, that's
if nothing
fine.
less to teach people to not make bad movies and release things before they're ready, or like do things unnecessarily.
No, I went into this trying to be as like open as possible, and I ended up at the end of it being like, well, that wasn't good, but and I'm like, well, like, because I had just heard someone talk about how bad it was, maybe you and maybe someone else on like the internet for some reason, right? Because we talked about like the new series is coming out, so this is like in like the zeitgeist or whatever we're talking here. So like I remember looking it up after I'd seen it and been like, wait, what? 27? That's like crazy low for this. Like I feel like that's super crazy out of whack or whatever. Like this is certainly watchable. There's like bad parts in it.
It felt like a chore to me.
We have a difference of opinion, I suppose. It's crazy.
I seem to be more of a man of the people.
Well, okay. I don't know.
No, just for all the things I've listed,
you're like a man of the critics too, or whatever. No, like
I didn't know it had a 27 though. I went in with that just as my opinion.
No. I didn't know either when I had my opinion before I went and like cross-checked my opinion. I remember thinking like people think this is bad, but I haven't seen it in a long time. Let me go like check it out. And I'm not saying it's good. Like I'm in this awkward position of like I'm arguing over like a 15 or like 10 to 20 point spread on like a arbitrary rating system that doesn't even matter. Like I expected this to have like a low. Like had it had like a 38, I probably wouldn't have even brought it up or something like that, right? Like we're not even talking about like a big deal.
Well, like if you thought of what makes the 100 points.
how low.
So like that would be,
right?
what do you think? Like acting, script, effects.
Right, no, but we are constantly seeing things that are awful get like super high scores because like people seem to like it even though it's awful. People don't seem to care about
But you're
scripts.
blanketly comparing this to everything else, and I'm saying just what score would this get from you? Like the script I thought was shit. Like
it is not well
It was a
written.
victim of its script.
Yes.
The acting, if half the cast is bad, you can give that, out of that 20 points, that can get a 10 maybe.
Sure.
But I think even to give it half, so half the cast I would literally just fire. So it gets 0 points for that, and the other half I thought was good maybe half the time.
Okay, no,
I think that's fair-ish.
I thought half the cast was basically fine, like all the time. Like,
but again, the other half has to be fired.
Yes, but not that they were half of half or whatever, like you're saying.
I think whether it was script related or not, the actors came off as bad a good amount of the time. Okay. So like I could only give like a small fraction of the points for the acting portion. The effects, in just the ones that were egregious alone, effects suffers like a 0 score. I don't know what the other 40 points allot from.
There's a lot of effects in the movie in a lot of different places, and a lot of them are not as bad as the worst effects that are bad.
Agreed,
whatever, right?
But because the egregious
we can't
ones,
take the entire movie away.
I certainly can, because
a
bad moment takes you out of a movie, and if the moment you're taken out of a movie and even thinking about something on the screen, they've lost points in my book.
But there are a ton of movies where like something built to something.
Again, we're not comparing against anything else. Okay. I'm just giving this movie a score, and this movie's like off of a standard scoring system here would score very low. And not saying anything about other movies, I will rate any other movie that comes across my table.
No, okay.
But this movie does not score well, and I understand why people are in that ballpark.
So I understand why you wouldn't like this movie. I bring up other movies because I feel like when I see how people receive most other movies, and the idea you'll probably say is that other movies have different like goals in mind or different like points to them or something like that. But like. Spider Evolution Dr. Smith looked bad, but it looked as bad as a bunch of stuff in a bunch of sci-fi movies and horrible things that we say. That's
but not only did it look bad, it felt forced. It was weird. There was no other explanation for things like that. Like it felt like something.
That's very. So I think I remember when I first. It's like partially too. I'm trying to put my head back in the space of someone that's young and wants to see like interesting or cool things or whatever. So I think when it was revealed that was Smith and he had like evolved based on that spider bite from earlier and all that stuff, that I was super into that and shocked by that or whatever. And the whole idea that so much time had taken place, right? Them finding, and this is something you see on a bunch of Star Trek episodes and other sci-fi things.
It just felt
you find
weird.
things that are from the future, and you're like, how's
but
this
it goes back to
so
the script,
whatever,
where
right?
it's just so odd and so convenient. So he just happens to be asexually pregnated. He happens to be about to give birth the moments before he goes into the thing. They happen to pierce his egg sac, and he happens to call back a thing that he thinks is the logic, where he's like, they eat their wounded. Is hatching wounding you? Like
the ending fight, the whole thing is falling apart towards the end of the movie, and the fight there is not something that I would be like, oh, that's the real awesome part, is the fight or whatever. Like I said, I remember being young and being like, I wish I could like this because it has some cool stuff in it, but it's not working.
No, agreed.
Whatever,
there
right?
are certain concepts that I think could have been great, but they didn't develop any of those, and the things they did develop and lean into were really bad and unneeded.
Okay, I think that some of the stuff is developed and is good, and some of the stuff is bad. That's what I'm saying.
I agree, but can you give me any examples of things you think were developed and good, or
the things I've been talking about? The thing with the robot and like the VR mode, and the thing with the spiders.
Well, no, but robot
and
VR
the thing
mode,
with the time travel and the distance and the hyperdrive and how Lenny's
but all of
chasing
these
after
things
him
are like from other things.
Everything is from something else. That's
but
ridiculous.
That's my problem. Is that like.
No, I mean everything in like the world is from something else.
Agreed.
You can find an Isaac Asimov story from like a million years ago.
Almost every movie has some
like
type of a character or some plot point or something that I'm like, that's new and interesting. And I didn't get any of that from this. Like each scene felt like a scene from another movie being ripped and done worse. While some movies rip scenes and I'm like, oh man, they destroyed that. That's so much better.
Like if you want to say that, it's certainly fair for you to feel that way. But I'm saying like. just to say like, well, their movies have time travel in them, so
no,
whatever
it's
you
not,
saw
it's
in this
not
movie
just,
doesn't count
it's not
or something
just
like
time
that, right?
travel.
I don't know if that's fair to say.
No, but it's not just time travel. It's like how the things were felt gives you this feeling of like, all right, I see what you're going for, and you're like, all right, a good scene would then end with this or whatever or something.
Yeah, I think
and
it
just didn't go anywhere.
I think an overall tone of shittiness can make us say things that didn't count as things, or that there's more scientific reasons why they're bad if you just didn't like it because you looked at it and said, I don't like this.
And I think trying to defend something arbitrarily can also give you the same feelings. It's just it's arguing in a corner.
No, but that's what I'm saying is like I can't. That's the point that I'm getting to is that like if you looked at it and said like I don't like this and that like that's the end of it, right? And I looked at it and I said this is fine or I like this, or this is like I don't hate this or something like that, right? It isn't because you in the moment like scientifically thought about the origins of this concept and if it's being done well or not, right? You just watch the scene and you go like, ugh, yikes, I don't like this. And then you go to like,
I rewatched the scenes to make sure I didn't like it, and I was like, this is horrible, because I was like, maybe I'm missing things.
You can think about it afterwards, I'm saying, but if you don't like the thing, that's
no,
but
the
point I'm trying to make is like,
the problem is I go into this movie wanting to like it because I like the characters, and then they
the actors or the characters.
Well, kind of both.
Yeah.
But it just
what I'm saying
it didn't have anything redeemable.
What I'm saying is we get to a point where I can't argue. If you say it was bad, I can't be like, no, it wasn't, because he'll just be like, yes, it was. There's nothing to talk about anymore.
I've never tried to do that, but like,
but
I gave my opinion simply, and I've restated it multiple times.
Right, no, that's just what I'm saying. Is some of the stuff that you're saying didn't work.
Well, no, because some of the things like your point was arguing against a bad rating because other movies were this, and I was trying to say that I'm not comparing against other movies and this and that, and then I was asking for things that would make on a point scale it beat a 27. I didn't think you had things that did that, because we kind of agreed the acting was shitty, the plot was shitty, the script had bad writing, and all those things off the bat lead for a bad movie if you don't include some of the other flaws.
I guess I'm saying that I think that there are movies that have similarly bad scripts and bad performances that are like a genre thing, like an action or a sci-fi or like a whatever. And I haven't gone and checked all their ratings on all these websites to check that.
But they're also, you can't, to compare any other movies to any other movies are totally, like if this movie would have been run with different actors, it might have been a whole different movie.
Exactly.
And those other movies that are also shitty with higher scores do have different actors, and maybe if they had different ones, they'd be worse, and different ones, they'd be better.
And you can think about, too, like, when did it come out? What other movies had just come out? Like, what are people
like
wanting
Matt
at the
LeBlanc
moment
traditionally has never had a movie success.
Right.
To the best of my knowledge, he's never had a movie success. He's had bit parts in movies that were popular, like Charlie's Angels, but
I forgot
he's with a pitching monkey in one movie that was a dud.
Yeah.
He's not a leading man, and he could be box office poison. I like him, but that leads to being a dud. You have an unlikable lead, the boy, the Mr. Will Robinson, also leads to a dud for me. When the whole time I'm just like, God, couldn't they have gotten Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle? He's much more likable.
I thought he was Dewey for a few minutes.
That would have been much better. Yeah. Or even like the little boy from Jurassic Park. Like I know he probably would have been a little too old for this, but there's no reason the kid has to be 8. He could have been 17, and the teenage daughter could have been 19, and it would have played the same way, but you could have got actors that could act, and things would have made a little more sense.
I actually think this might have been one of the early victims of the kind of stuff we talk about with studios and like interference. I think that they put together the cast based on some sort of like,
I'm sure,
oh, you're from this and you're big
Party
in that
of 5.
or something like
you'll
that.
get the tweens. Oh, this and blah blah. You'll get that. But it just. On
probably
all
aspects,
the movie just kept falling apart for me, and that's why I think it deserves a 27. I don't know if that's the exact number I would have given it, but a thumbs down means under 50, and if you're getting a thumbs down, you've already lost. So it doesn't matter what your exact number is.
That's the other point that I'm trying to emphasize. I'm not arguing like, oh, this is like a hidden masterpiece. It should have a 97% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Like just
I was
running
just
too
shocked
long
at how
alone.
low I saw it there. Yeah.
Like a movie running longer than it should, because there's solidly a half an hour to be cut from this movie to make it even
100%.
watchable, and things like that. Those are what I call egregious errors that I would like knock off points. Because if you walked in the movie and you weren't enjoying it, and then you walk out and it's fucking dark now, and I gotta go to find your day is ruined. I can see people bombing a movie that's slow and boring, and the ending not paying off.
I think the core of this, we end up like, I think that we actually agree on like most things, right? I think that in like our world where we rate stuff, a lot of the movies that have a very high rating would not have a high rating because they have all these problems and are bad or whatever, right? Yeah.
Just how big the budget was for how many problems it has, it doesn't make sense. Money solves problems, and they literally created problems with money through like, I need more CG and garbage that I can't pull off.
Yeah.
I think you could have got a couple no-name actors, saved millions of dollars, and made this better.
Most likely. Most probably. I've lost any thread of anything I had with any notes or anything to mention anything or whatever.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So is that your final thought?
Like well, what do we have with final thoughts for this? What are we thinking? You just kind of summed up your final thoughts pretty well.
I would say it's a pass. Maybe blindly check out this Netflix show and hope for the best.
I'd be really interested to see someone's opinion that hadn't seen it as like a kid and how that like. How did you feel about it from your childhood? What did you?
I didn't like it.
What were your like leftover thoughts?
My thoughts that were left over, I feel like from a child to an adult pre-watching this again was like, well, that helmet was cool, and that was all I liked really.
And that stayed consistent throughout the rewatch.
I didn't remember it being this long. Yeah. I remember thinking it was rat with like just like so many plot holes were just in this movie, and I thought there were so many things that could have been just solved easily. As I saw it again, I remembered I'm like, oh, that fucking monkey, and I remembered that being bad. I don't remember it being this bad, but that's also a product of like how like things have gotten so much better, but it's such a stark contrast to every other CG thing in the movie how bad that monkey looks.
Yeah, it's very out of place. I would say that and the cryo sleep's like a smaller thing, but the monkey and the CG Smith guy I feel like are like the main things that are like not okay in this movie.
Because that could have been like a Jim Henson puppet thing and been interesting.
It was a weird choice, I'll put it that way. I wonder if there's a story behind this movie and it's like production and like why things ended up being the way that they are, like what's going on or whatever. Right.
I don't know. I don't know why they had to make him so large and big. Like they could have just made him like his face turn and like his body gets scaly and fucking.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he fit in that cloak or whatever at the end.
He didn't.
It didn't seem.
It also doesn't make like you're scratched by a spider and you turn into something that's so much more powerful than the original spiders. Like that doesn't seem like how things would work.
Anything can work like anything. That doesn't need to be.
Yeah,
a thing.
I just don't like. I would prefer he just died from it.
Okay.
He died from it, and the spiders burst out of him or something.
I don't know. I think that's a super cool idea because, like, when time moves without you and you have the characters meeting each other from different times, you can do stuff like that where it would take a long time for whatever thing to spread and change him or whatever.
It was
and then all of a sudden it happens. 20 years, I think.
Yeah. The guy that the little boy turned into is such a creepy-looking man.
Yes.
And that just was off-putting. That gives it another -3.
I like that he's off-putting. I love that he was off-putting, actually.
I hated his face. I couldn't even look at him.
He was like a steamed ham.
He was. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think that the time, like, I don't know. Again, like, I'm not sure what happened to me then. Because watching this, I was shocked at, because, like, when I saw the monkey, same thing happened to me. Oh, God, I forgot about the monkey. This is going to be the Jar Jar Binks again. Oh, my God. But then, like, the monkey doesn't, like, nothing really comes of the monkey.
That's the most infuriating part about it.
No, like, for me, that's like, okay, good. They didn't, like, that's not going to be some crucial plot point that, like, is going to...
There's a point I just remembered where the older Will Robinson is, like, thrown into the, like, plasma thing and, like, hits the side, and he's hanging by dog tags. So I'm like, what the fuck?
That's the kind of thing that I can't like. At that point, I feel like if I already didn't like the movie, I would start getting down to that level with like he's hanging by dog tags. Well, what the hell's going on, right? Like that's not a big enough thing for me to like hate on a thing for, right?
If we're gonna hate things that are in the script, then how about this? Here, Will, my dad gave me these dog tags every time he went on a mission, and he said, I'll get them back when I come back.
And you never
Eventually,
came back.
He never came back, and they couldn't identify the body because you gave your son your dog tags. How's that grab you?
Wait, did that happen? What do you mean?
I wrote that part.
Oh, okay. I'm
but
like, what?
You don't. The dog tags, you have them for a reason. Like,
yeah. I thought you were going to point out, so we haven't even saw it. So, like, I like the time travel aspect, but the time travel aspect doesn't, like, make sense in, like, a lot of ways. But that's common with a lot of other time travel things, too. I don't know. Some of that stuff, I think as like a kid, some of that stuff would be cool. The time travel stuff, the different planet, like finding out, like now when I watch it, I either like remembered or I just know because it's obvious that the thing in there is going to be the ship and the time travel thing or like whatever.
So how does that even work though? So the ship lands, a half click back out of the circle, but then the ship in the future is on the same planet, but further into the like. How does that work?
I don't actually know if it got moved over the 20 years, if that was part of his thing he was doing, or if when he bubbled it, he also shifted the position while he did the thing. I'm okay with like details like that.
It's convenient and odd.
Kill
Those
me
are
too
things
much.
that I would love to be like. So how'd that happen, writer? Magic.
A lot of times, though, when movies over-explain too much, it's kind of like, oh god, just it's fine, put the thing.
No,
in.
but it's this thing. Yeah. So like, I imagine it's like, and there's this bubble, and you don't know what's inside. It's the ship. Everyone knows it's the ship, but like it's just goofy.
Yes, but even then, to like how I thought that was well done. I liked him finding the graves. I liked him moving the dirt off the thing, and it being the ship, and the characters finding it out, getting separated, and finding it out together, and all that stuff. Like it's obvious, but it wasn't obvious based on like it's obvious to me because I've seen like a million movies. And
but like also things like why for the plot or like do some of these things even happen? Like why is like okay, you two go. We'll wait here. You do this. We'll wait here. The son, who's the most naive, genius idiot I've ever seen in my life. Like, I get that he's a kid, but he's brilliant.
Children are horrible, right? And Gary Oldman played on his fears of like something happening to his family and all that stuff, right? I thought Gary Oldman was good in this. I loved him hitting his head on the thing to like fake an injury, but then Matt LeBlanc like seeing through it instantly or whatever.
Yeah,
I like stuff like that.
While it made sense, like a lot of that action-y bits played off as cheesy to me.
Yeah, stuff's dated definitely, and stuff's not. What do you mean, like when the robot was killing everything, or what
everything? Where I'm like, what is this? I don't like the robot like declaring his thing out loud each time. He's like, "Must kill,
that
destroy
is a holdover from the original thing."
Yes, but like you're making a reboot. It's updated. It's.
You just mentioned Daleks, though. You don't hate that Daleks say exterminate
out loud,
No, I don't,
but Daleks aren't robots. They're people. They're aliens.
There's more of a reason for a robot to be saying things out loud, because a freaking robot has to, like, say...
Nah, when you have bad things...
Initiate docking procedure.
It's mainly just I understand the voice is original, but it's how he says things with the humanistic traits. I would have liked it better if the humanistic voice came in more after it had the personality, if you were going to go that route than before.
Oh, no.
It's just so many little critiques that, like, the movie's not good, so you can just pile them on.
No, and I think that this can be seriously script doctored, and there's major problems with the writing, and that's not something I would ever dispute and say, again, it's not like a hidden masterpiece that's like a thing. But I was shocked at how, I think that it was the 1-2 punch of being like you say, well, that was too long, kind of fell apart, writing is not good. But
that's not 1-2. That's fucking.
That is because you
volley.
That's because you started talking before I was done with my thing.
Volley of. You've named 4 things when you said 1-2.
That's thing 1 is like you're done watching the movie and you have whatever impression you have.
Okay.
But definitely not as painful of an experience as I expected. I expected it to be torture, like it was for you. But for me, it was kind of that kind of it was the running time's too long, but stuff moved along. We went through all these different phases with the ship and then the planet and all that stuff. I didn't feel bored or whatever. Stuff happened that I liked or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, well, how does the world feel about this? And then being like, oh, it's like literally the worst movie I've looked up in recent memory or whatever. I was like, damn, that's way off. That's way different than I expected.
I think it's deserved.
Okay. I think that it should get a bad rating, but not as bad as the rating that it has.
But what is that like? Just think about that statement. Studying. I think it should get a bad rating, but not as bad as it's got.
Yeah.
A bad rating is a bad rating. No one's quibbling over should I see this? It got a 32. Should I see this? It got a 27. No, it's bad. Bad is bad. The word bad is in the title.
I didn't want to emphasize the rating too much anyway for that very reason, because at a certain point, it's basically this arbitrary thing.
Yeah, if it comes down, because our rating is up or down, and it got it down.
Exactly.
So,
no, I know, 100%. So, and I think that you have a good point there with every other movie in existence has something else that artificially increases the rating, because ratings are bullshit.
Everything's a gamble. You're picking all your stars, hoping to get that. Someone's gonna want to see, like The Rock right now. Auto pulls in a 20-point shift on whatever your movie is, and people know that, and they're hedging their bets and doing things, but they just happen to grab a bunch of actors that had net negatives.
No, but you make a Transformers movie, you make a DC movie.
And there's a reason you put Mark Wahlberg in your fucking thing,
or whatever the hell Michael Bay chooses to do, or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's always reasons why they end up getting better ratings. Those are critics' ratings, though. That doesn't make any sense.
No, but people
That's
like
really
those things too.
Okay, so critics are not actual professionals anymore, right? They're just other people.
Just we're
YouTubers
critics.
Well, we're not certified Rotten Verified.
I am.
Oh man, are you the reason? I rated 100 times. I gave it a 0.
Yep.
100 times on something.
It deserved it. Is that your last thoughts?
I think we've basically summed up all of our thoughts and reactions.
I think we've covered everything.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, whatever we may say, we both do think this is a thumbs down movie.
Yeah, I think it's a skip.
So let us know in those comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.